Hey guys, Raven here. Today I want to do something a little bit different instead of focusing on just one build. I have 3 builds for you today. Just experiments, things that I thought it would cool to try out. This is the stats of the first build. And this first build was based on the magma blades. These are a bitch to farm. Weapons are really too hard to farm on this game, but I'll get to that in a moment. So I also use the Giant's Red Braid, which is a cool weapon, and you can get really cool kills, but in a second you'll see why I didn't use it a lot. It has an extreme amount of stamina expenditure and FP expenditure. While it leaves you blocked in place while you do the weapon art, which is what really sets that weapon apart, so I end up not using it. But I like the magma blades a lot. They're really cool, and you can do area denial very well with these. And a lot of weapons in Elden Ring are strong, in weapons and weapon arts are strong because they allow you to do area denial, storm stomp, a lot of other things that allow you breathing room, and the magma blades do that by themselves, which is really cool. So I'm fighting a 3v1 here, one of them disconnected, and you can see why this weapon can be so good. Sword of Night and Flame is still really good. It's a little bit more balanced, but as of the latest patch, but it's still good, especially the R1. The R2, the beam is not that good. You can see here why this weapon is so good. Notice the host, he's getting staggered and he ends up dying just because he was thirsty, and both of them tried to come at me at the same time. So that's where this weapon really shines, besides of having very cool effects. And I'm not usually a very aggressive player, but with these weapons, it's because they're curved swords and I'm dual wielding them, you need to be really aggressive. And these are the only weapons I'm using, and I mean, they are not really strong or unbalanced weapons, but they're really cool. Look at the area denial here. Both of them are getting staggered by the lava, and if they block, they also it's a soft counter to great shields, and that's why I'm able to get their boost on the host. So really cool concept for a weapon. So I left this invasion in because I want to highlight something that I think it's really bad for the game, but we see it a lot in invasions, so I think I have to give some words on it, which is the immense spell spamming. Also immense Ash weapon art spamming, Ash of War spamming, because there's a lot of things that cost very little in this game, and you can see here I'm trying to engage the Phantom, and the host just throws meteorites at me. It's a cheap spell, and you can do that a lot, and if you spec into it, it can do some hefty damage. This was my first strike and I immediately get hit. So, and of course the usual tactic here is I'll let them waste all their FP and then the invasion can start. But I think From Software was too lenient on the spell costs. It's in Dark Souls 3, for example, and I'm at this point I'm getting sick of the spell spam, and I go for a carry and retaliation. This was before patch, and of course I get the co-opper. It was no wonder, and I didn't even heal. I just didn't care. If I died, I died. I didn't care. But in past, especially in Dark Souls 3, there was disadvantages in being a spellcaster, you know, because you're always safe because you're attacking from a distance. So spells had the more were costlier, and here in Elden Ring, spells cost next to nothing, and I think it has become a big problem in Invasion. This build right here was based on the Bloody Fang, and I'm using 2 curved greatswords, the Bloody Fang and the Margit's greatsword. And I don't think curved greatswords are really good in this game. They don't have the hyper armor that they did in Dark Souls 3. They are pretty slow, and you have to have a lot of investment cost in order for you to swing the weapon, have poise. They are not really fast as well. But this weapon in particular, the Bloody Fang, allows you to do really cool stuff. Really cool combos. And it's all around a cool weapon. Also, it has a pretty big stamina cost usage. So probably if I do this build again, I'll allow for more stamina. Then I try to go for a physical only build and not a bleed build like in the first clip there. This guy does a lot of damage. There's a big issue with overleveled phantoms in this game. I know it's hard to. I know they're hard to balance, really hard to balance, but something must be done, I think. They're a bigger problem, I think, than in Dark Souls 3. I end up having to focus on the host because it was not viable to go for the phantom. And this is what this build can do. It's really cool. This dude was well spec'd out, but a lot of players would have died with 700 damage. So you can change the targeting for the follow-up R2. It's really cool. So on this one, I was using a double Great Spear build because sometimes I just want to play easy mode. Not all invasions need to be hard. And double spears are really strong in this game because, well, it has to do with the balance of the game, because one of the reasons is poise. You see, in Dark Souls 3, spears were not, I mean, they were viable, but they were not really good because they had no intrinsic poise on their R1s. So no matter how much armor you stacked, they wouldn't have poise on their R1s. But in Elden Ring, poise is tied to armor and armor only. So you can have a lot of poise and use the spears. And spears tend to be good because they have a lot of range. They have big chase down potential. Great weapons for chase downs. They don't weight a lot. And you get poise because of the armor. So they are a really strong option. In this first, this was the first time I was doing this build. So then I upgraded the build to use only short spears because it made the build a bit weaker. And also I added the claymore to do other stuff. But great spears, or spears in general, are really strong in this game, and this is another example of that. I can put immense pressure on him, while, well, the only thing that he can do is like a rolling attack to take out the pressure, or do the weapon art, but at this point I can trade easily. This next fact right here also shows how the sandbox is, in my opinion, very unbalanced. He's using double great swords, and I have the much better setup. One great spear needs 103 poise to poise through, and I'm using 2 of them, so there's not a thing that he can do in order to to poise through one of my hits. And I have more range, I have comparable damage, I have much faster attacks, I have a better chase down tool, so what's he supposed to do? He doesn't have any of that. So, I mean, this is easy mode. And I'm not even using like a cross Naginata, which would bleed on top of all of this. So it's, I mean, come on. And this is the host he was trying to summon, and of course he's not even, I mean, I don't know what this was. Now I left this invasion in because I was really surprised that From Software didn't, this is an AFK farmer, and I was really surprised that in the latest patch 1.04 I think, yeah, this one is fat rolling, that From Software didn't patch the AFK farmers, because it's while the complete solution for the issue is complicated, because you need to know where you can jump and with torrent and not be accessible in invasions, etc. That might be hard to fix. But what is really easy to fix, and I don't know why they haven't done it, is just don't allow any runes whenever a player dies in your world. If you are a red and you kill a phantom, you don't get runes. If you are a host and you kill a phantom, or if a blue dies, you don't get runes. That's it. I don't think that anyone is counting on those runes to do a build, and I don't even think there's like a big lore implication. So that would straight up fix the issue, at least temporarily, because while I see less of these guys, I also don't usually invade in areas. I don't usually invade in Liurnia, for example, in order to not get these AFK glitchers. But it was really weird for me that FromSoft didn't do like this simple and kind of obvious solution for this issue. So this is the second version of the build. I'm using short spears. I really like them, and they are really light as well, so I could use a claymore, which is a really versatile and good weapon, especially two-handed and with flaming strike. And just notice how little FP that costs. So if I want to use the Giant's Braid weapon art, it costs a ton of FP and stamina, while a flaming strike, which buffs my weapon, gives me a 2-hit combo, and relieves a lot of pressure from the player, costs next to nothing. I mean, the balance in this game is, I don't know. I hope they mess with it, and not just buffing stuff in order to make them stronger, but nerfs are also needed as well in a lot of stuff. I'll go into that in another video. So this was like the first invasion where I used the claymore, and I'm pretty much spamming flaming strike, and because I wanted to know what all the hype was about. And look at this, it's really good. And the claymore is one of those weapons that it's good, but it's good because you use a lot of really cool Ashes of War with it. It's not that like it's a bad weapon, but this game heavily favors dual wielding weapons because you get twice the damage, and a lot of poise damage as well. So this is one of the cases, great swords in general, that one great sword, specifically one that doesn't have a fixed weapon art, is really good. So I'm fighting these guys here. This area right here is really good for me. They are always taking chip damage from the explosions, from the magic outside of Carrion Manor. And also this jumping R1 is really good because it can roll catch sometimes, and it does an arc, so if you over jump your opponent, you sometimes also can hit them. I've been using a lot of flaming strikes and I have not a lot of FP, and just look, I'm at only half bar of FP. Also shout out to the Radan dude that's doing all the Radan things with that weapon. Also, Flaming Strike is a really good roll catch weapon art. Like I was saying, all the dudes that use the Radan swords are always spamming that weapon art, and it's not that good. I mean, it doesn't mean it's useless, but it's not that good. So 700 damage, and then the jumping R1. Which got him like behind me, so it's something I really like. Now this is another thing that makes spears really strong, which is the strong ashes of war that you can put on them, and one of the strongest is sword dance. It has a lot of crowd control power, and it comes out really fast, so it's really hard to roll through. I have a lot of trouble rolling through sword dance because you roll through the first hit and then you get hit on the second. And as you can see by my FP bar, it costs next to nothing. So a blue shows up and I take my leave. I know there's a serpent around this corner, so I'm just trying to bait him. And everything lines up perfectly, and gets a really quick death. But I was saying, spears are really strong in this game because they sort of have like everything. Great poise damage when dual handing them. They have range. They have access to great weapon arts. I mean, even if they're not great spears are like that, but they need a little bit of more stat investment. But spears, the partisan, the normal spear, this one, really good weapons. So I go for the claymore, staggered R1s, trying to bait the attack. And look at this combo. First R1, then the jumping R1, then the second R1, into the flaming strike, follow-up. Really great weapon art, one of the best in the game. And that's why you see it so much. So in this invasion, I'm finding a host and an overleveled phantom. He's like level 230 or something like that, because I kill him, spoilers. And the only thing that he does is that bloody slash. It does a lot of damage and is like the only thing that he does on this invasion. And bloody slash, funnily enough, was nerfed. It was already in the nerfed state at this time. And he just knows how to R1 and do the bloody slash, and he almost gets me. I needed to take some risks there in order for me to kill him, because he didn't even heal. And there's a really big problem with skill gap in this game that a lot of content creators have addressed. One thing that Saint Riot was saying the other day is that great swords, the moveset while one-handed is good. I would go even further and say that while in Dark Souls 3 it was an underrated move, in Elden Ring, in the sandbox, it's actually stronger. Why? Because you have passive poise. So in Dark Souls 3, the moveset, the one-handed moveset of the Greatsword didn't have access to poise on its R1s, on hyper armor, if you wish. But here in Elden Ring, because poise is passive, you can use that moveset very well against groups of enemies, provided you have enough poise to tank through one or two of those hits. You know, we get to the last invasion. This was a very short invasion, as you'll see. And man, yes, I'm using a source heal because of my stat distribution. This is so level 80 and I use it, but come on, 40 vigor, a one-shot kill. I mean, come on, From Software, do something. Anyway, that's all from me, guys, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and see you later.